Okay, good day everyone. Welcome to our discussion in Forensic 5, Chapter 5. So, we will discuss the Chapter 5 and this is the last chapter for Forensic 5. Okay, it will focus on lie detection techniques, specifically sa polygraph examination, interrogation techniques, and the qualification of the polygraph examiner. So, napakahalaga ng topic na to ng chapter 5 because in criminal investigation, hindi sapat na may witness ka lang or may suspect ka lang. So, investigators must determine whether yung person is nagsasabi ng totoo, telling the truth or not. And dito pumapasok din yung role ng polygraph examination and interrogation techniques. So, by the end of this lecture, you are expected to first understand the objectives and uses of polygraph examination. So, second is also to identify the limitations and barriers in conducting polygraph tests. So, una, to understand the objectives and uses of polygraph examination. Pangalawa, to identify the limitation and barriers in conducting polygraph tests. And pangatlo naman, ay to differentiate interrogation techniques like yung mga diniscuss natin last chapter, the raid, the piece, and kinetic interview. And pang-apat is to explain the proper handling of suspects during interrogation and last is to describe the qualifications and qualities of the polygraph examiner. So, let's begin. Una is the general and specific objectives ng polygraph examination. So, the general and specific objectives of polygraph examination. So, first, let's discuss yung mga objectives ng polygraph examination. So, ano nga ba yung ultimate objective ng polygraph examination? So, the ultimate objectives is to obtain yung subject's admission or confession. So, regarding sa offense na makukomit niya. So, meaning, ang pinaka-goal talaga ng polygraph is not merely to detect the lies but to encourage the suspect or yung subject to eventually confess or admit the truth. Okay? So, we have the general purposes of the polygraph. So, in general, yung polygraph examination, kinukonsidered yan as investigative aid. Okay? It's considered as, for a while lang po, ha? So, polygraph examination, again, is considered as an investigative aid or technical aid. Okay? Take note dito, polygraph is not investigation itself. It only assists investigators. Okay po, ginagamit ito para saan po uli? Para i-verify yung mga statements ng victims or ng complainants. And to establish yung credibility ng witness and para ma-evaluate yung truthfulness ng suspect. At ginagamit din ito sa pre-employment screening and loyalty checks. For example, may mga applicant sa intelligence agency or security agency. So, before hiring, pwede siyang sumailalim sa polygraph examination para ma-determine yung mga possible dishonesty or hidden criminology background or criminal background rather, no, para ma-determine yung mga hidden criminal background na meron siya. So, we have the 5 general area. We have the 5 general areas, no, na commonly deals with the polygraph. First is the security risk. Dito sa security risk, example niyan yung mga leakage of yung mga confidential military information. Kasali yan. So kapag may suspicious na may employee na naglabas ng mga classified information, yung polygraph, it may help to determine yung mga possible involvement. Okay? Next, we have the criminal law infractions. So, example nito, yung mga murder, robbery, theft, and rape. So, ito yung pinaka-common use sa criminal investigation. Okay? Next, we have the personal screening. Personal screening. So, dito naman, it used during hiring process. Okay? It used during hiring process. And pang-apat is the misconduct. Example niyan yung mga corruption, dishonesty, and yung mga workplace violation. Okay? Next, we have the medical measurement. So, dito, because yung polygraph records natin ay physiological responses gaya ng blood pressure, respiration, pulse rate, and sweating reaction. Yun yung medical measurement. Yun yung mini-measure niya, yung physiological responses natin. And next, kung meron tayong general areas, meron naman tayong specific objectives. So, we have the specific objectives. So, dito, meron tayong tinatawag na una, ascertain if a person is telling a truth. So, ascertain if a person is telling the truth. No? So, dalawang witnesses ang magkaiba ng statement, and yung polygraph, it may help para ma-verify kung ano yung statement na mas totoo. Okay? Next is to obtain additional investigation leads. So, minsan, during examination, may mga bagong information na lumalabas. For example, yung suspect, ni-reveal niya yung another location where nandun yung mga evidence na nakatago. Okay? Next, we have to locate the fruits or tools of the crime, yung mga ginamit. Now, locate fruits or tools. Fruits is for tools of the crime. Okay? Example, saan tinago yung murder weapon, nakatago, no? Saan nakalagay? Nasaan yung place? Saan yung pinagtaguan? Okay? Next, we have the identify other persons involved. Okay? Dito, example, yung accomplice or yung mastermind, no? Andito kung sino pa yung mga kasabwat kung tawagin. Okay? Next, we have obtain valuable information from reluctant witnesses. So, yung witnesses na takot magsalita, minsan nagiging cooperative yan after the examination. Okay? Next. To eliminate the innocent suspects. So, napaka-importante nito, no? Because investigators, they should avoid charging yung mga innocent people. Okay? Next, tungo naman tayo sa principal uses of polygraph examination. So, yung principal uses niyan is first, to aid investigation. Sulat na lang natin, ha? Aid investigation. Second, speeds up investigation. Next is to eliminates innocent suspects, and the pre-employment screening. And also, yung honesty test na tinatawag, or the periodic test. Okay? So, examples, may mga banks na sometimes they conduct honesty test para sa mga employees na maghahawak ng pera. Okay? Next, we have the limitations ng polygraph examinations. Limitations of polygraph examination. So, this is very important topic, yung limitations. So, mga bata, tandaan na yung polygraph, hindi yan perfect. Una nga, dahil nga tinatawag siya na it is aids in investigation. First, may limitation yan. Yun nga, it's only an investigative aid and hindi siya kapalit ng investigation. So, meaning, even if someone nag-fail siya sa test, investigator or yung nag-imbestiga sa kanya still need evidence. Okay? And second ay, sulat natin. Yung first limitation niya is, it is only an investigative aid. Lagi nyo yan naririnig. It's only investigative aid. And pangalawa, it is a not lie detector. Okay? It is not a lie detector. So, actually, the machine, it record yung physiological reactions only, but it does not directly detect lies. So, yung examiner, ina-interpret niya lang yung reactions. And third, accuracy. Accuracy depends on examiner competence. So, kaya napakahalaga ng training and ng experience ng examiner. Nakasalalay sa kanya yung analysis, yung interpretation. And next is voluntary consent is required. Voluntary consent is required. Kasi no person should be forced to take the test. And next, dapat meron niyang voluntary consent. Hindi pwedeng pilitin na sumailalim sa polygraph test. And next, no conclusion of guilt. No conclusion of guilt merely because of refusal. Hindi porket tumanggi siya at walang consent ay guilty na siya. So, kapag tumanggi naman ng tao, hindi naman automatic guilty siya. So, very important yan legally and ethically. Okay? Next, yung barriers naman sa polygraph examination ang pag-usapan natin. So, barriers to polygraph examination. So, may mga tao talaga na difficult or impossible na ma-examine, ng accurate, Gaya nga ng example na pag-usapan natin yung mga kinds of lie, paano kung pathological liars yung na-interview mo. So, these are the person, who habitually lie and may no longer react emotionally to deception. So, mahirap kapag sila yung sumailalim sa polygraph test. An example also, yung may mga mental cases na nalagay natin dito. Yung mga example ay mga pathological liars. Ayan. And kabilang din dito yung merong mga mental cases, yung mga individuals with severe psychological disorders. Gaya nga ng sabi natin, yung polygraph, marami ang tinetest sa physiological response natin. So, kung meron kang medical issues or cases, maaaring maka-apekto to sa polygraph test. Okay? Next, yung mga persons under alcohol or drugs. Ayan. Dito naman, physiological response becomes unreliable. No, kasi nga nakainom. And next, meron tayong tinatawag din na kapag yung tao ay may mga heart disease dahil kabilang nga yung pulse rate, yan sa ating pag-detect ng physiological response. So, maaaring makaka-apekto kung merong heart disease or organic disorder. So, pagdating sa medical condition, maaari itong maka-apekto sa resulta. Okay? Sino ba yung mga subject na hindi qualified sa pag-undergo ng polygraph test? Sulat natin yan. Subjects not qualified. So, who should not undergo yung ng polygraph examination? Una na dyan, sinabi na natin yung person with extreme nervousness, no? Persons with extreme nervousness, no? Merong may mga high blood. Yan, bawal din yan. High blood pressure. May heart disease. Unfit yan. May severe headache. Bawal din. And may mga mental abnormalities. Yung na-discuss din natin kanina, yung mga person under the influence of drug or alcohol. Pati yung mga buntes, bawal din po yan. At yung mga person below 18 years old, bawal yan. Bakit? No? Because their physiological condition, it may interfere with the accuracy of the results. Okay? So, next part is the interrogation techniques. Interrogation techniques. So, let's proceed to interrogation techniques. No, tatlo yung major techniques na nasa objective natin, which is first, the RAID technique. Next, the PEACE method. And the kinetic interview. PEACE method and kinetic interview. Sa RAID technique, no, this is one of the most popular interrogation methods na meron tatlong components. Ano yung tatlong components niyan? Yung factual. Okay, medyo nagloloko. Factual analysis. Pangalawa is yung behavior analysis. Analysis interview. And pangatlo ay yung interrogation. Dito, pag sinabing factual analysis, yung investigators, ina-evaluate niya yung motive, opportunity, and behavior before and after the crime. So, kabilang dyan yung mga personality and yung mga physical evidences. So, for example, yung suspect biglang naging mayaman after ng robbery incident. So, that becomes part of factual analysis. No? And pagdating naman sa behavior analysis interview, this is non-accusatory. So, yung investigator, it first observe yung verbal behavior, yung body language, and reactions. Okay? For example, yung suspect, ina-avoid niya yung eye contact and it becomes overly defensive, or it will change yung tone during the certain questions. Okay, may mga investigators kasi na it may analyze yung mga behavior ng mga subject. Okay? Next is yung 9 steps ng RAID interrogation. So, meron niyang 9 steps. No? Step 1 is the positive confrontation. Positive confrontation, so the investigators, it directly tells the suspect that evidence points to them. Okay? Next is the team development. Dito, yung investigators, they are offers a moral justification. So, for example, ang sinabi niya ay, maybe you did it because you are desperate financially. Okay? So, pwede yun, magagawa siya ng isang dahilan, reason, kung bakit niya nagawa yun. And then, step 3, yung handling denials. Dito ay yung investigator, dinidiscourage nila yung paulit-ulit na pagde-deny. Okay? And step 4 is the overcoming objectives. So, dito, example niyan ay, kunyari, sinabi na, I will never steal because I love my job. So, yung investigator, it uses this objection to continue yung discussion. Okay? Next, step 5 is retaining attention, no? Retaining attention. So, dito, yung investigator, they are keeps the suspect psychologically focused, no? And next is the handling the passive mood. Handling the passive mood. So, yung suspect, it may become emotionally weak or quiet. Okay? Next is the step 7, the alternative question. Alternative question. No, example ay tinanong siya, did you plan it carefully or it was accidental? So, manonotice naman yon both choices kung saan siya it will imply involvement. Okay? And next, second to the last step, step 8. Okay? Step 8 is the oral confession. So, dito, yung suspects ay inanarrate niya na yung every details ng nangyari. Okay? And then, the last step, step 9, is the written confession. Okay? For a while, medyo nagloloko yung piece ng gamit natin. Okay, ayan. Written confession. So, dito, the oral confession becomes documented. Okay? Next, tapos na tayo sa read technique. Ano yung next, natin, method? The piece method. Okay, madali lang na to. Itong mga sunod na method na to. Piece method. So, dito, unlike read technique, yung piece method, ito naman ay less aggressive. Dahil yung word na piece, ang acronym, no? Medyo nagloloko na naman yung device natin. P stands for preparation, and planning. And E, no, stands for engage and explain. And A for account, and C for closure, and E for evaluate. So, peace. So, ito yung method na ina-avoid deception para makapag-focus siya sa ethical interviewing. Okay? So, example, instead of pinipressure mo yung suspect, ikaw na investigators, inaalaw mo sila na magsalita lang or magpahayag ng kanilang storya sa una. So, this approach is commonly used sa mga countries na ine-emphasize yung human rights protection. Okay? Next, last is the kinetic interview. Kinetic interview. So, dito, kinesics, mga anak, it means the study of body language. So, yung investigator, na-observe niya yung facial expression, no, yung sa itsura, kung kumunat ang noo or ano yung naging facial reaction niya. Next, yung posture and yung gesture, yung eye movement, kung natingin ba yun sa mata mo or hindi. And syempre, yung voice tone yan kapag sumasagot yan sa'yo. But remember, no single body movement automatically na nagsasabi na nagsisinungaling siya. So, for example, yung nervous person, it may avoid yung eye contact, no, kahit na inosente yan. Okay? And then, the last part is the general suggestion in interrogation. So, the general suggestions in interrogation. Important reminders for investigators na una ay build rapport. Okay, medyo hindi na naman okay ang ating device. Una, letter A is to build rapport, no? So, dapat tinitreat yung suspect humanly. For example, they are offering water or coffee para ma-reduce yung tension niya. Okay? Next is let them talk. Huwag mong pangunahan kapag meron kang subject. So, sometimes, yung suspect, ine-expose nyo na yung pagiging inconsistent niya. So, dun pa lang malalaman mo na kung nagsasabi siya ng totoo or hindi. So, let them talk. And pangatlo is observe carefully. No? During interrogation to, ha. Observe carefully. So, yung investigator ay dapat may attention siya, should pay attention to both verbally and non-verbal clues. So, verbal, yung mga sagot ng subject, non-verbal clues, yung mga binigay natin yung sa body language. Okay? And next is to offer the face-saving explanation. Okay? Offer the face-saving explanation. So, example, maybe you lost control because of anger. So, this may encourage yung confession. And next is to research the suspect. Okay. Naglaw na naman yung device natin. So, una, alamin mo muna din yung kung ano yung kinakatakutan niya, yung background niya, yung family niya, and yung motivation niya, and weaknesses niya. Okay? You should research first the suspect. Okay? Hindi na nagsusulat ang ating pen. Okay. Research. For a while lang ha. Research the suspect. And last part is the polygraph examiner. Polygraph examiner. So, dito, ayan, dahil hindi na medyo gumagana yung device natin, ay pakinggan na lang si ma'am. We have the polygraph examiner, yung mga qualifications, ng mga polygraph examiner. Una, yung good examiner, meron dapat yung they establish yung report, para mabuti, maging komportable sa'yo yung subject. And also, you must understand yung human behavior, kasi that is the one factor, para alamin kung nagsisinungaling or hindi. And to have also the investigative experience. So, kung wala kang experience or kulang ka sa experience, mahihirapan kang mag-interpret ng nakuha mong analysis or result sa kanyang polygraph test. And also, dapat meron kang, you possess also the interrogation skills. Kasi kung medyo weak ka, ikaw ang makokontrol ng subject. Okay? And also, be dedicated sa trabaho na meron ka. So, even mahirap yan, pero kung dedicated ka and may passion ka sa ginagawa mo, it will help also sa work mo. The next, palista na lang ako dahil hindi na nagana yung ating pen. Yung polygraph examiner qualification. Ano ba yung mga qualification ng mga polygraph examiner? They must have, first, syempre, may good educational background. Hindi naman pwedeng graduate or hindi graduate yung polygraph examiner natin, or wala din siyang background when it comes to polygraph. And also, be intelligent and mature, and possess also the values and integrity na palagi nating sinasabi. And also, hindi lang pwede na meron silang skills, dapat they also undergo sa mga proper training. Okay? And dahil nga kabilang yung emotions sa polygraph test, they must be also understand yung mga psychology and human nature. Bakit? Because yung effectiveness ng polygraph ay nakadepende kung gaano din kagaling yung examiner. Okay? Yun lang naman mga anak. And to summarize today's lecture, tandaan lang na yung polygraph examination ay importante siya sa investigative aid, and it uses also to evaluate yung truthfulness, and to assist yung mga investigations para ma-eliminate yung mga innocent suspect. So, however, it has limitation and cannot replace na sa proper investigation. So, also, we discussed also yung major interrogation techniques such as yung RAID technique, PIS method, kinetic interview, yun lang. So, we learned that yung skills, ethic, and competence ng isang polygraph examiner are critical, lalo sa pagiging accurate and pagkakaroon ng fair examination. So, lagi nyo lang tandaan na sa forensic science, truth is not based only on confession or psychological reaction. Proper evidence pa rin, pag-gather ng proper evidence, and ethical investigations, and also to respect yung human rights. It will remain essential. So, that ends our discussion for the Chapter 5, Lie Detection Techniques.